Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. We're back. I said I'd bring the studio stuff back to you, but only in its full capacity. Only when we have all the facilities. The cameras are locked in, all angles given. Hopefully you like it. It's something that we can bring now to the channel, which is a blessing. To be honest, take a long time to get to this stage, but we're here. And there's no better way to do it than with a brother in the studio, having Lewis. Welcome. First time debut here, and you're the third guest, but you're the first guest with things actually on point. So how are you, brother? How are you feeling, man? It's good to have you here.
Bro, it's great to be here, man. It's a beautiful setup. It's great to be on the channel as well. Big up to everybody watching. Doing all right so far because Chelsea haven't played in a good couple of days. We don't play this week, thankfully, as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I say that for now because we're going to delve into everything regarding Chelsea and it's going to get more and more depressing as the video goes. So apologies in advance, but it is good to be back.
It is. And I think the last time I saw you was outside Stamford Bridge. It was an Arsenal game that we were building up to because obviously you hate Arsenal, I hate Arsenal. We're at a period now where they're trying to rise back up from their ruins, but they haven't won anything yet, so we still got that bragging
We had
right.
a little bit of momentum, back-to-back wins
there was
and
some
all
hope.
of that. Now
the hope has
it's
been...
hopium.
That was hopium. Now the hope's been taken out of you. And I've seen that you don't go to as many games as you used to go to. You're doing more of the watch-alongs. I've been doing them as well. How disconnected are you from Chelsea right now? Because I know you're not with the manager, and I know you're not with the performances. Because who can be? We're 11th, 1 point ahead of Fulham. They're becoming our noisy neighbours. So how are you feeling now, just in general?
I'm just bored of it all. I'll be so real with you. I'm just so bored of it all. Like, Man United away was the trigger point for me. I went up to that game with so much belief that we'd have a good performance against a mess of a United squad. They're terrible at home. They're terrible going forward. They concede a lot of shots per game. I watch us get bent over. Like, I watch them make chance after chance. We can barely get the ball out of our own half against that Man United squad. We set up horrifically. Probably deserved to lose 4 or 5-0.
Yeah.
We travelled up like 4 or 5 hours one way just to get there. I was like, I can't be bothered for this. I did all this last season. I did the whole follow everyone home and away and all of that, regardless if we're crap or not. It's fine. Things will be better. We were not sold this. This was not what we were told was going to happen.
Yeah.
We were told we will compete on all 3 fronts, not be 11th in March.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, I just can't be bothered for it. I can go through all of this at home. And at least if we're playing like crap, which 9 times out of 10 we are, I can go outside, have a little bit of the lettuce, you already know. And I can try and calm myself down. When I'm at the ground, I just have to firm it. Just pointless football for the sake of it. Poch just sitting down in the touchline, not doing anything to help things. Late subs, poor defensive setup, poor game management. Just an awful second half coming up.
Yeah.
If we're winning, he'll take the sting out of everything.
Yeah.
So it's just, what's the point? I don't have any faith in this guy, and he's the only guy meant to have faith in within an inexperienced squad. So, yeah, I can't be bothered. And the owners want to enable it by keeping him?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to enable my bank account. I'm going to look after myself.
The breaking point, I always said everyone's going to have their own breaking point. Even when I was still backing the manager and trying to give him time, because ultimately I think stability is the way forward right now. I know people talk about the Roman era, we used to sack managers constantly, but people also have to remember, like, Roman was running us at a deficit. These guys obviously aren't going to do that. And we were also running out of managers.
Plus, there was managers that we did want him to keep. Like, no one's going to say...
True.
As much as we back Roman for everything, there was
Carlo Ancelotti.
Yep. Both Mourinho ones. You could argue even Conte with some fans as well. Some fans didn't want Lampard being sacked.
Yeah.
So there's things that we didn't agree with Roman, but we could always at least put that to the side because I'm like, all right, he just wants to win.
Mentality.
Exactly.
You know what his intentions are.
Regardless of what he's doing, I know we're going to compete on all 4 fronts for the most part. So it's all right. I don't mind.
Yeah.
With this, it's like, no, like I'm fine with loyalty.
Yeah.
But loyalty's earned. You don't just blindly get it. You have to show me something.
Yeah.
And I've seen nothing.
I've gone to a couple of games this season and I've gone to bankers. I've gone to games where I'm like, we're going to win and we're going to batter them because we should. Wimbledon. Preston, you know, I've gone to those cup games where loyalty points are given out. You know what I'm saying? And
five loyalty points.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is where at least I know coming to the bridge. Because sometimes if you go to the bridge and you're a content creator, I feel like it's better to sometimes sit in the West Stand because you can get a good view and then you can talk about the game better in a review, because people underestimate how difficult. I find it very difficult to review games and talk about a game after I've gone to the game, because if you're in the Matthew Harding, you ain't watching.
Yeah. It all depends on the angle. If you're too low, like, you don't know what the shape is. You're just looking at what an individual's doing on the ball and working from there. Higher up, you might get the restricted view, which is like, I'm lucky I'm in the middle, but even then it's not as good as Wester East.
Yeah, but then the West, there's no atmosphere, so it is a bit dead.
Matthew Harding ain't great either. I'm gonna be so real.
The atmosphere's kind of been sucked out of the team, so it's not even like, unless you're going with a group of friends, it's not enjoyable to go. Like if you're going on your own, like I've just gone on my own, or I've brought my girl to just humble her and tell her, yo, this is what I watch every week. Hold that, hold that. Yeah. So when I'm coming in the bedroom, like
this
in
is
a bad
why
mood,
I'm so stressed. Okay.
Facts. When I come into the bedroom in a bad mood now after the game,
now?
now she gets it. Yeah, she said, "Madrix, your ass," because she's not. She gets it now. She's like, "Yo, what's this number 10 doing? What's this guy doing? What's that guy doing?" But like, I agree with you. It's like going to the game now. It's almost like it feels like a chore, and I'm like, I don't want it to feel like a chore. I want to enjoy it. Either I want to see good football, I want to see goals, we can't shoot, or I want to see wins. Right? We don't get either. So that's where it is difficult for me. But for you, when you come from going to games regularly, then you're not going to games. Then you're going on panels back again. I'm on DR Roundup. Like, you have to fight for your life.
Suffering, bro.
Are you at a point now where you're just like taking licks and you're not even trying to fight back? Because if you're disconnected, you don't want to be delusional at the same time. So
it's why to a point, like, I don't get cooked, because everything they're saying, I'm gonna say it too. So it's like, how can you cook me when we're in agreement? You can cook me as a representative of my football club, and that's fine. But I've got to a point where I'm mentally detached from that. It's like, cool, I am Chelsea. My club stinks. I will say the same thing that you're saying. The only problem is I feel like I'm getting into arguments with people because they want to deflect to certain areas, or they want to focus on certain areas. And it's like, I'm not crashing on a lot of these players, because a lot of these players are inexperienced. So I'll judge them on a game-by-game basis. The manager and a couple of the players aren't inexperienced. So I'm going to expect a little bit more from you. Owners and directors, they're enabling this crap. Their mentality is in the toilet. I don't know about the faith of them bringing in the next manager, but I feel like I'm stuck in a position where I have to blindly believe that they can find someone, because I just don't have any faith Poch could turn it around.
Yeah.
But I also agree as well, if we don't get if the next manager is another bum, complete focus has to go onto them.
Yeah.
You can still say get the manager out, but I'm looking at the directors and the owners again and saying, that's your third strike.
You're out.
That's your third strike.
Yeah.
Simple as. I shouldn't even be trusting you the second one, but I doubt they're going to go. So it's like, I just got to hope you bring in somebody good that can at least weather the storm a little bit, build a bit more into this team, and then maybe we can look a little bit higher up.
Yeah. I wanted Poch to come in the first place, because I thought with the chips and the cards we'd been dealt, young players, Premier League, a lot of them haven't been here before. What use is it getting a manager that's also then got to get used to the Premier League? I remember when Ten Hag first went at Man United and he tried to do Eriksen double pivot against Brentford. He found out fast.
Yeah.
So I thought, you got a young team, you got a lot of them coming into the Premier League for the first time, first season. Usually these players that we've bought, they get a year to acclimatise, they get a year to adapt, and there's senior leadership players around them to say, right, I'll hold your hand whilst you get ready and get used to the pace. We've just put in loads of young players, and the leadership figures like Chilwell, like Sterling should be, these guys don't pull their weight in terms of leadership, and I don't think the armband...
Or even performance.
And performance. I don't think the armband, it really is... I don't think it's really for anyone at the club right now.
That's getting passed around like a joint.
But that was my reasoning for Poch. I said he's developed players at Southampton, developed players at Tottenham. He's put up good, points tallies, good home records, etc. He's not going to.
I understand.
He might not
win.
win.
Same thing.
He might not win us a league or a Champions League, but I don't need him to. Just get us back into respectable areas, and then we'll go and get the top guy. You said Man United was your cut-off point, and I get that, because that game I was fuming. I think that reminded me of the Arsenal defeat at home, 1-0 as well under Potter, where we were
Yes.
just dreadful. Oh, I was almost sick that day. But what else outside of performances and results? Like, why? For the people that in the comments, they're going to leave a paragraph and they're going to say, Lewis, man, you got to give it time. There's those young players, they're all developing. None of them are delivering in front of goal. They're not scoring. There's individual mistakes in defense. Like, we've already gone through managers. We need to give this one another season. Underlying numbers, metrics.
I mean, even those metrics are dead now. That was an argument from like 3 months ago. Everyone just says give it time because we don't want to be the club that sacks managers and everything. But like, I look at the most successful clubs and they usually do that until they find the right manager. And then guess what? They stick by the right manager. It's as simple as that. Like, I don't care about sacking another manager. I really don't, especially one who has done absolutely nothing. The idea of progress is insane. That's what some people have told me. Oh, we have progress from last season. Yeah, we've scored more goals. We have a better attack. In spite of what people want to say about the squad, I think our squad is better than it was last season, and there's more players that want to be here. So I see an improvement in individuals. I don't see an improvement in structure. I don't see an improvement in game management. I see our defense has gone backwards. I see our defensive setup has gone backwards. Game management sucks. Like, nothing's good from this manager, so I don't see any reason that we stand by him except, oh, we made a cup final. Great. But you look at the context, wow, we beat Wimbledon. We beat Brighton. We beat Newcastle on penalties because Trippier chested the ball down in his own box and then missed a penalty in the shootout. We beat Middlesbrough's B team 6-1 at the Bridge after losing to them away and then complaining about injuries when they had 16 injuries going into that game and another 2 in the first half. Like, when you look at context into everything, it's like, well, why are you even still here? That's the real question. Like, how have we got to March and you're still employed? Are we pretending we can get back to... No, we are pretending. We think we got an opportunity at the FA Cup, which, cool. I'm not going to say it can't happen, magic of the FA Cup and all of that, but I'm going to see that before I believe it. Like, I've been tricked too many times by this squad and by this manager.
Do you... So I'm going to go back to the squad thing because the squad thing's interesting. Some people think... Because we spent a lot of money. And obviously, you're not going to see the fruits of our... I'm not going to say labour, but you're not going to see the fruits of our spend, I guess, until 2-3 years' time because these players are raw, a lot of them, and they need to develop. It's quite obvious. They've just bought potential. But you say the squad's better now. Is that just because they're more united, they want to be here? Because maybe from an ability standpoint, people will say last season we had Jorginho, we had Kovacic. Kante didn't really get many games. He's always injured, but he was there. Mason Mount's there. Like, do you feel like the squad... Is it kind of balanced out for you in a way? And with Poch, do you think if he was speaking, how much of this is performance and tactics, and how much of this is the way that he like verbalizes and articulates where we are and what we should expect and the process and the project and like his lack of connection with the fans, maybe not going up to them at the end of games, and like how much of the intangibles like do you care about? If you could like say percentage wise, tactics, results versus intangibles and connection, what's the split for you?
In terms of the intangibles, like, it's like the icing on the cake in terms of everything that's wrong. Because he came in and said all the right things, talking about Chelsea, we need to win now. But it's like the equivalent of like going into a job interview that you know you're not qualified for, but you're just going to say all the stuff that might make you sound like you're qualified. Because he said all the right things and then went right back on it 3 games after. Said, we don't need patience, and asked for patience after we lose to Nottingham Forest. Talks about protecting the point against a winless Bournemouth team. Like, that was the first real red flag for me. I could ignore the first 2 defeats and just say, maybe it's a new squad, it is what it is. Man said, protect the point, and I see us time wasting with 10 minutes to go at Bournemouth. I'm like, oh, well, we better turn things around quickly because this is not a good start. I really want to be patient, and I tried so hard not to say Poch out, even though I was criticising every single move he was making, just from a reaction perspective to what I was seeing. Then the results don't improve. You get to the United game, I'm like, yeah, get out. I'm tired. I need to salvage the season already now, thanks to you. You need to leave. In terms of tactics, like, I look at these players and yeah, there is inexperience. Yeah, we do need to wait a while to see the best out of them, but it's like we set them up to fail with the structure at times. Like the midfield is getting absolutely clowned, and we have Enzo playing left wing and second striker shifts, leaving Caicedo under social distancing. And it's like, well, what am I going to expect from them? They're not going to cook. But then whenever we lose a game, they're always the first two to get called out. And when they play badly, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Matches like the Carabao Cup final, I weren't even defending Enzo. I was like, you just dropped your worst performance of the season. You can hold that. I don't even care about the Liverpool fan trying to mock you while you're going up for the medal. You didn't do anything, so I feel worse for the Chelsea fans, innit?
Yeah.
But in terms of players, I do believe we have a better squad from last season. The attack is better. The midfield, if we had it structurally set out better, and to a point as well, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. If Lavia was back, things might be a little bit better too. But I do believe the midfield's improved as well. Kante, I love him, could never stay fit for us. No. So I could never really think of N'Golo Kante like, raw, we have Kante. No, it's just
not for the
whenever you're
years.
about, innit, you're here, but you're not. Kova didn't want to be here. Jorginho, like, I wasn't happy with us getting rid of him at the time that we did. If you did that after Caicedo came in, I can understand it a little bit more. But we had Enzo doing the deep line midfielders, the DM shifts, and like that was a problem in itself.
Yeah.
So I think the team had improved. It's just, if anything, like as much as it's crazy to say, we might have even done worse with the manager. Because I think in hindsight, I would have kept Potter over this.
Really?
At least Potter had a decent defensive structure. And part of it I could put down to the attackers weren't good and they didn't want to be here.
This is
the problem was the game management, the starting lineups. That's what I was like.
This is the trade-off, isn't it? It's like because in the first half against Brentford, we were a lot more methodical, slower, controlling, and therefore we didn't have as many shots on goal, but we didn't concede. And we were defensively better. But then when we start to go rock and roll and we start to really punch the ball forward quickly, get direct and up the tempo, we create more chances, but then we concede more chances because the midfield is all over the shop and he's got everybody doing...
I also feel as well like we just don't seem comfortable in the back five.
You don't think so?
Nah, like defense...
Because the managers that are out there is Inzaghi and Alonso and Almiron from Sporting, they all play back threes. Do you care what the formation is next season?
No, I'm not saying like I would be against us doing it. It's just we don't do it enough. And when we do it, I don't think we look comfortable in that formation. Like we seem to concede a lot more crosses. We seem to drop back a little bit more as well. And I feel it's a case of like when you play in the back four, you understand what zones you need to mark a little bit better. Whereas when you do that and then you switch to a 5, suddenly everything changes and the things that you've been comfortable with doing throughout the game, you now have to change it up again.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to lose momentum. So like, I wouldn't say I'd be against doing it in the future. It's just we haven't committed to
it needs to be
being a
coached
back
like
five
Tuchel. It needs to be drilled into the players. Yeah, I hear that.
That's more what we need.
Yeah. So we've spoken about Poch, and I mean, it seems like a ticking time bomb right now with this guy because he hasn't made the connection. He's starting to get the chance that Sarri got, which is basically just fuck off. He's not producing the results. It doesn't look like as if it's going to turn anytime soon.
He also throws the players under the bus every time we lose. If X guy scores this
the
chance,
lack of
we
accountability,
win.
does that annoy you as well? Because
Yep.
that's something that... So for me, my breaking point was maybe the Wolves game, because I think my expectation...
Which one?
The Wolves are at home, 4-2.
Okay.
Because... I don't know when the Wolves away was, but that was definitely prior. But for me, it was like when I know we can't get Europa League football via the league, that's when you've underachieved for me. Now, people will say, oh, but you rate Poch. Exactly. Because I rate him, I expect a certain level in terms of the team performing. Now, maybe me and you might disagree in terms of like how far the team can go. I predicted 4th on DR, and because I was like
I was a bit shameless on side and said 3rd, but like realistically compete for top 4, I'd get.
But also because like we kind of had to, because we just signed Liverpool's midfielders like Lavia and Caicedo. Like we were just off that high. How could we not then at least
1 game a week?
1 game a week. How could we not compete for top 4? But okay, cool. The finishing. The injuries as well, that's context. Like there's been a lot of players out. It's difficult for a manager to find any rhythm or any chemistry with players because there's literally 1 in, 1 out, etc.
Yeah.
So I sympathize with that. But then the middle ground for me is like you should at least be competing for Europa League. You should at least, I think Man United are the barometer. I don't know if you agree, but like Man United, the barometer is like, we know they're bad. We know that they've been poor this season. We know that their football stinks. They've had a lot of politics at the club, Sancho, loads of issues behind the scenes, statements, Rashford. Like, it's not like they're good, and they've had injuries as well. But their manager is literally like going against all his principles, and they're still higher in the table, and they absolutely battered us. So that was like, what? Like, and we're not even near them. That's
why United was the turning point. I was like, that United team, and we got bodied like that. Yeah, leave him at Old Trafford. Like that's why I keep going back to that game. Was like every single bit of patience I had, I just felt it eroding during that game. I was like, this is disgraceful.
Yeah.
The way we're playing is, I don't even care if we come back and scam a draw. I'm not celebrating. I don't care if we scam 2 goals. I'm still not celebrating.
Because I know you go up there to see like Flawless and it's a party.
Yep, and every time we go there, we get cooked.
Because last season, I went up there to interview Saeed and Big Steve, and I saw Flawless as well. Because we played them back to back away games. And I remember saying to you, like, are you going to just stay up there? But I think you went.
No, I went down and back up.
Yeah, back up. Probably should have just stayed up there.
Shouldn't have even bothered going up.
Shouldn't have gone up there anyway. We lost both the games then, lost this game now. So with Poch going, who do you want to come in? Because you know there's loads of managers. Like, have you got a preference? And I'd say maybe there's two different routes. Like, have you got a preference regardless of strategy from the board? Like, if you could pick someone right now that's realistic, not Pep or Klopp, obviously, like realistic, who would you get regardless of the way that we move? And then the second one would be, with the way we move, who would you get to kind of like I guess develop these players and, you know, maybe put a system together, whatever you think?
I'm not sure, because I feel like wherever we go, there's going to be risks. Like, there's Hansi Flick, potentially. He's shown that he can be a proven winner, so I wouldn't really mind about that. But things did kind of fall out for him over the last few years too. De Zerbi, we've been linked with, does understand the league. He has got a system that has shown that it's worked in the past. Also does seem to concede a lot of goals. There's been questions about him handling low blocks, so it's not a complete set with him. Amorim, he's shown he can win. He's shown that he's got a good attacking system as well, but from what I've seen as well, like, there's questions of how he'd be able to get our midfield set up and if his tactics would be able to work in a league that's as intense as the Premier League. So I don't really feel like there's a surefire option. There's even rumours now of a potential Tuchel return, which I'd say he's a good tactician still. I wouldn't turn my nose up at Tuchel, even in spite of everything that's going on at Bayern. I think it's the one move that would unite the fan base immediately.
Yep.
Do you think he walks in with a better team than when he left?
Banner comes back out.
Yeah, immediately. That one's been doing the rounds this season regardless. I saw that at Wembley. But I don't think either one seems perfect. So it really depends on what's better for the team that we have right now. And I guess I'm leaning more to a De Zerbi if that's the case. But
I think it's 12.5 million. I think it's 12.5 million release clause after we've brought in Sam Jewell, Paul Winstanley, Robert.
We're giving them more money.
More money. Robert Sanchez has got to go now because he deserves to be the one that binned him.
Stupid in the whole
so
first
silly.
place.
Petrovic probably can't start because he's not good enough on the ball. De Zerbi will want him benched. We've bought in Caicedo for the record fee.
So we'd have to go get another goalkeeper then.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is why I was hanging on to stability for so long. Is that every time we bring in a new manager, if it's Almerim, he's going to want to play a back three. According to Sporting's team right now, there's no wing backs. It's just Chilwell. And Reece James, can he really do that shift after surgery? We have to find out. Gusto doesn't really take players on like that, but is a great crosser. So again, you have to kind of improve and mold him. But Madueke, Mudryk, there's no real space in that team for them unless Mudryk continues to play as a 10, like we saw against Leeds, but that's small sample size. But, there's a lot of players that won't suit that back three that we've bought. And then, with De Zerbi, I mean, as we just said, there's a couple players that won't suit that as well. So every time we get a new manager, we're doing them a disservice if we don't get them some players. Like when Sarri came in comes Jorginho. If we don't get him Jorginho, he can't implement Sarri ball. And then his tenure is tainted. And people will look at him and say, that's not good enough. And maybe Poch has even been the fool guy in that because he comes in, maybe doesn't get the players he wants. He just gets the players that the board will give him. Maybe that midfield isn't the midfield that he would have bought if he was, in from when Potter came in. He might not have said Enzo and Caicedo would be my guys. But I think
one thing I'd say with Poch is he had like 3 months with the directors, so he didn't know what he was coming into as well.
But I guess the overriding question is, are we going anywhere with a group of directors that seem to recruit separately from the manager? Because I know Poch don't know who Washington is. I know Poch don't know who Datcher for far. Like, we seem to be so heavy on the buy young players, multi-club model, need profit, need turnover. And we're not very focused on what does the manager need since Tuchel, really, since Todd Bowie, let's go for dinner situation, wonderful meals, Aubameyang, Sterling, Fofana, Koulibaly. That was the last time we actually bought for the manager. But then what did we do? We sacked the manager like a couple days after the window. So do you see us going anywhere with that kind of mindset? Would you switch that?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like, the manager and the directors do need to be working together. And I think it's alarming that we spent so long looking for a manager, working with him, with an understanding of the squad and what the plans were for this season, just to end up in this position. That's what's very alarming to me. And I think what's even more alarming is that they're not going to get sacked either. So all we can really do is just hope they've learned from their mistakes. But it is very concerning. Very concerning that, like, we spent so long looking for a manager and we still look completely disjointed. But I also think as well, as a base, we shouldn't be in this position in spite of all of that. Like, if we could say maybe we're in 6th or 7th, like, we'd be a lot more understanding, and then you can look at these problems and you wouldn't necessarily be manager out, for example. You might be a bit more critical of where we are, but at least you're in the European spots.
Yeah.
At least you're competing for the European spots. So I don't think we've been in the European spots all season. And, like, that's crazy in itself. We have not touched top 7 all season. And that's where I think, in spite of, like, all the potential disconnects between the manager and the directors, can't be 11th in March.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing for me with Potter as well, because I was saying give Graham Potter time. But it gets to a point where the standards have to come in. And it's like, I'm 10th in March. Get out. Just get out. It's as simple as that.
Is there anything he can do from now to the end of the season to, like, bring you back? Like, can he, if he was to finish miraculously, it's mathematically possible, people, whether you think or not, it actually is.
Yep.
If he was to somehow miraculously get 6th and win an FA Cup, would you rein it in on Poch out, and would you be like, okay?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm gonna be so real with you. I think I need an undefeated streak until the end of the season. I'm being so serious with you, because in terms of league position, I'm already done.
Okay.
Personally, because regardless of what we do, we could even have that unbeaten streak. I'm just gonna think, right, if you didn't mess up the first 6 months, where could we be now? And that's what will be stuck in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So in terms of the league, like, you just have to go unbeaten. And if you could do that, maybe I'd hear the arguments. I'd probably still want him out. But I wouldn't think anyone who's Poch is just brain dead at that point. I'd be like, at least you're coming to me with an argument now that I can understand. Winning the FA Cup? No. Like magic of the cup and everything. Everyone can scam a competition or win any one set game at a time. So, that wouldn't really do much for me. It'd just be like, okay, cool. Crisis averted. We've got Europa.
Yeah.
There's another route into the UCL.
That's your warning, though.
No.
As a club.
Oh, yeah, as a club. I'd be like, for Poch, to be like, thank you very much, leave.
Leave on a high.
Yeah, just leave.
On a
Louis
high.
van Gaal type beat and all of that. Thank you for the cup. Bye-bye. But, yeah, in terms of the rest of the club, I'm with you. Warning signs. You've had a massive warning. Don't mess us up again.
Yeah.
Because once Poch goes, I'm not looking just at manager in general.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why I've been looking manager, I don't want to say over directors, because they deserve their criticism as well. But it's just 11th in March. Full stop. Before everything, I am 11th in March. And, like, I don't believe this squad is 11th place quality.
I don't either.
So, first thing, go and get me a manager that can at least change that. Because he's underperforming. And then everything else, I'll look at that too. I'm also not saying to anybody else, look away from the owners, look away from the directors. Put the pressure on them as well. But there's a reason why I'm also so focused on Poch. He can't get away with it just because everything else around him is the problem. No, you are the problem too. Don't get it twisted. You might be as bad of a problem as everybody else because you're a straight catfish. You show me one thing in pre-season, show me something completely different afterwards. You give me one mentality one week and a different mentality the other. You talk about how finals are there to win, and then you go and defend against under 18s. Like, no, leave. You're a big reason why the standards are going down in this club too. So yeah, it's just a mess overall. The more I talk about it, it's just crazy.
I'd have a new director of football come in. I'd love Edwards. Obviously, that's unrealistic. Him to assess everybody to the end of the season. And when Stanley and Stewart, for the extremism on young signings, young players, and lack of balance in the recruitment, and obviously the fact that they have to be accountable for hiring Poch as well. You know, if I have to make a video saying shit, then they have to hold that too.
The one thing I'll say with us as fans, like, we are allowed that naivety.
Yeah,
because
sure.
You wanted Poch in, I wanted Poch in. I'm not going to hide away from that. Like, I could say maybe I could have done a bit more research into his time at PSG with hindsight.
Even with PSG, like, we're not PSG. We don't have Messi, we don't have Neymar, we don't have Mbappe. We're closer to the Tottenham team that he did well at than we are to the PSG team. We don't have Galacticos. We don't have players that won't press, players that won't track back.
That's why we just went off the Tottenham side. I was like, all right, cool, Prem proven,
and Southampton,
show me all of that. Calm.
And the thing is with this is it was a safe bet. I thought at the time it was a safe bet.
Yeah.
I saw Vincent Kompany. No.
Yeah.
I saw Ange Postecoglou. I'm like, I don't know you well enough. I don't know you well enough, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? Pochettino is a safe bet. I think they also thought it was a safe bet as well. What I don't agree with is Washington's and Fofana's and obviously the players that they've signed, we didn't know a lot about the Disassis maybe.
But I will say at PSG, they were echoing, PSG fans were echoing the same things we were echoing in terms of what is the structure, why is this guy playing in this position. I'm seeing Kim Pembe at left back, apparently Messi playing DM, Neymar at wing back, and then you relate it to us and I'm like, rah, the signs were actually there. I remember watching an old Euro expert vid, big up to my guy, and he talked about Poch's inability to break down low blocks and how we weren't getting the best out of individuals. I was listening to him, I was like, he said all this last April, you know.
But you know what's so funny? Even with the low blocks thing, we don't come up against low blocks that often because teams don't respect us.
Not anymore. At the start, we did.
If you were going for the Manchester City job, low blocks, because everybody knows you're the team, you're the guys, you got the quality, you're going to control the ball, there'll be low blocks. I'm seeing teams leave us space.
Yeah, that's a now thing. Before, like, I'd see it West Ham away, Brentford at home. I'd see it like even Wimbledon. Even Wimbledon, we couldn't break them down until we got a penalty.
Yeah.
So, like, those alarm bells were still there, but like, we don't see that as much now. But there's been so many more bells ringing, I can't even hear that one.
It's true. Before I let you go, bro, we're going to wrap up. But obviously, this will come out before the Newcastle game. It's pointless to say a must win. I don't think a win is going to move the needle at all. I think a defeat is just going to continue to.
We're just saying must win because there's like a little glimmer of hope for sixth.
If you want to get into a European place in the league, and I don't count the Conference League because I think we're too good for that, and I don't really want to see that, then the Newcastles of the world that are above you and you need to claim back points, you have to beat them. But next season, when it's all said and done, what, as a Chelsea fan, what's going to get you back in the ground and what's going to make you feel like this ownership isn't going to just drive this club into mediocrity? Like, what are your expectations before players come in? What is the level that we need to be at next season with no Champions League football, because that's guaranteed, and obviously then the signings and manager has to mirror that expectation that you have?
I actually don't know. Like, I'd be so real. Like, the first thing would just be a new manager. But then I can't even say preseason because, like, I just watched an amazing preseason that had me gassed to death. And then I come out and see that football the first 4 games. I'm like, you man lied to me. You just straight lied to me. So, like, I don't know. Get me a new coach and, like, bring in an experienced striker. Because I get Poch could have done with that, but I also think an experienced striker just papers over his cracks and we turn into United under Ollie. So, like, I don't think it would have changed too much in my perception of him. But get an experienced striker, get a left back or wing back, depending on what manager we bring in. We're probably going to need another centre back. And even then, it's like, Because this squad should have been fine with one game a week to compete for Europe. So I don't even feel like I'm asking for too much. All I want is a manager with a decent structure, decent game management, and I want to feel like we can dominate games and actually be a threat.
Yeah.
Because, like, right now, we aren't even getting the basics. I'm seeing 11 men just run onto a pitch and just make it up as they go along in the final third. Zero patterns, zero structures, nothing. So I'm not even asking for too much. I'd probably be around for a few games at the start of next season in general, just as long as Poch isn't in charge. But you have such a low bar.
Oh, the bar is on the
such
floor.
a low bar.
The bar's on the floor. We're not in Europe. The bar is on the floor. We're just asking for a competitive
Somehow
team.
it's got lower than last season.
We're just asking for a competitive team.
That's it. So just give me that. And that's it. Because I said at the start of this season that Pochettino's coming in with probably the lowest standards needed from a Chelsea manager. All I'm asking is for a team that competes.
Yeah. And when we mean compete, we don't mean Roman days. We don't mean leagues.
Yes.
Because some people, he says that he's misinterpreted, which maybe he is sometimes in presses, but he's also misinterpreting the fans if he thinks that we're asking for league challenges.
I think Chelsea can compete on all three fronts in his first
But we're not
interview.
even asking for that. We're just asking for a competitive side that can at least hang in the same positions as Brighton are in, Newcastle in, West Ham are in. If that's too much to ask, I'm not dropping below that. I'm not asking for now, let's be near Palace and Fulham. I'm not going to that Wolves. I'm not going to that level. That's the bare minimum. That's the lowest I can go. I'm not going any lower than
even
that.
with one game a week, I would even still argue I want to compete for top four.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm dropping. Because of the injuries, I'm sympathizing with maybe that side. Because when I made the top four prediction...
But even then, I think, like, one game a week, how are we getting so many damn injuries? It's insane. It's like we play 3 times a week.
I hear you.
And then I see the old articles about Pochettino's training methods and it constantly causing injury issues in his old teams, and it's like, leave, get out right now. You're genuinely a saboteur. So, like, the bar is in hell. Keep my players fit, keep us competitive, and, like, cool, we'll work from there, innit?
We'll go from there.
But if we can't even do that, like, just wrap it up. Just wrap up the whole thing.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a long way back. We're now being bantered for... The only thing we have left is that our London rivals aren't winning any trophies, thankfully. They haven't got anything to seriously dunk on our heads with because they're just, putting up points
Porto,
tallies.
you must.
Porto, you must, for sure. How are you approaching rival shows and watch-alongs now? You're just chilling, like you said earlier, isn't it? It's just vibes.
I'm numb
for the rest
to
of the season, what can we expect from Lewis? And let them know where to find you on the content as well. What can we expect?
Depression. If we get knocked out of the FA Cup, just straight vibes, because I'm gonna stop caring at that point. I'll start bantering my own team as well. But if we end up getting knocked out by Leicester, but yeah, sometimes you'll see me full face. Sometimes you'll see me with a bally.
Sometimes same for me. Bally as well on the big six.
I got to a point where I've had to just start muting people and doing SBCs while they start talking about Chelsea because I just can't be bothered with it. It's 4 or 5 streams a week of hearing the same crap. But yeah, while I'm still sane, see me on Carefree Lewis G and then everywhere else, and pray for the pair of us because we are holding down the fort with every bit of might that we have, and it's long.
It's tough. Long. I had to remove a few shows off my schedule because I was like, I'm not getting cussed every day. I'm not. I've got a couple of cussings that I'll make some time for, and then after that, I need my sanity, my mental health, my peace, and my and that's it. I don't need... You're doing more than me now, I think, with the daily... I'm not doing it.
A-listers.
I'm not doing it.
Back again. Best of the rest. I think I'm just keeping it to that 3 for now. Because I can't do any more.
It's too much.
I can't.
Especially when you have to speak on it. Now they're speaking on it. You're watching it. You're witnessing it.
On Hassam's show, you have to speak last when your team loses. You gotta let everybody go through.
Oh, really?
So you got Hassam cooking, then you got Igal cooking. He's flaming Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then that's not even it. Big up to Griggs. He doesn't really say too much because United, Chelsea, you both stink.
Yep.
Then you have the 30-minute Hamza monologue.
Oh my God.
I might just play a game of Ultimate Team through that and just hit the mute button.
Wow.
It's got to that point. But big up to all of them as well. But still, it's every week. I need a break.
Oh God, I was sitting on water bottles a couple of weeks ago. So
Yeah, bro. Like, it's been long for both of us. I see them get the what was it? The fucking note thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Long.
Strong and wrong right now for me, but it is what it is. People, make sure you subscribe to Lewis. Link is in the description. We're going through absolute hell. You're going through it as well. And the rivals right now who are watching are probably enjoying it and, you know, milking it. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Until you do something serious in London, we're still the guys. We're still flying that
now
flag.
because we will be back.
Listen, we better be back, because if we're not, then this is going to be a long career that we've chosen in this content creation thing. But yeah, make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. In a bit, people. Peace. Mad.
What a great show.
What a show.